didn't it? Mm-hmm. I went live and it cut off again. All right, guys. I just went live. It cut off. And I went live again. So
maybe we need to get a good old slice of chocolate cake.
There you go. It's now working.
It's working. Thank you, Norman.
That's what happened when you get a good old slice of chocolate cake.
Thank you for letting me know. So can you hear me good now, Pastor Norman?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you real good.
See, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. StreamYard is acting weird. And
it's not just StreamYard. It's been Facebook. It's been the Zoom. Like I said, with all of this, I don't know, AI, technology, whatever.
Everything, yeah, things are going kind of wacky-dacky, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anywho, I know my sister and my brother-in-law is here. I'm not sure who else is here. We may have lost a few people, but just when it went, I went live and then it was fine. And then I looked back up there, and when you said you couldn't see me on YouTube, look back and it was saying go live again.
Yeah, so you live now. You are live now.
Live and in color.
Well, where's everybody at? Ain't nothing. Sister-in-law ain't there. I don't see nobody up on there but you.
Sister-in-law is there. Sister and brother-in-law is there. Well, I don't know where everybody else is.
Check and see if they can see y'all. Ask them to
let you hear us and see us.
Sissy, let me know if you can hear us and see us. I'm not sure. I may have to go out and come back in. Let me know, sweet pie, if you guys can see and hear me. I don't know, because nobody's.
Because like I said, y'all, we are on YouTube. I do have that sitting right here in front of me, so I can see.
Yeah, and it looks like I am live here on YouTube and Facebook, but I don't have any response.
There
we
go.
Okay.
Good.
You can't see
it must be a delay or something, huh?
She says she can hear and see us. She can't see us. I'm invisible.
It must be a delay or something. Hey, Kathy, I'm glad you're here. Virginia came in. Hey, Virginia.
I'm invisible. She can't see me.
We're having technical issues, honey bun. Thank you so much for being patient. We're having some technical and thank you, John Greason.
Dr. Greason. Grayson J. Greason.
Thank you so much. There's something with Pastor Norman. You said there's a lot happening with AI. What have you been experiencing?
I mean, I've noticed with the TVs, the buffering.
Oh yeah, that
is on Facebook. I was doing the broadcast. I think that was on Wednesday, and it kept going in and out. And so I know they've been doing work in this area dealing with trying to upgrade the fiber optics of our people with the different stuff. But
there's some
things
if
that's causing that or not.
Yeah, there may be some things happening, but there's a whole lot happening. But anyway, we're here and we are live for the moment. Pray you stay live.
I do know this.
What?
The energy in the atmosphere is unstable.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Oh well, now I'm used to that. I can fix that. Put some glue on and hold it back. I get Thor's hammer and throw it up there and tear it in.
Well, let's. And you made me think about this morning when we were walking the dog, and Dad decided he was going to go walk with us this morning, and on the way we met a fella who was riding his bicycle coming from the grocery store with bags loaded down with bags because he doesn't drive and doesn't have a car and all of that. And he started talking to us about the things that he was going through. And it was kind of dark and heavy. And when he pulled off, we told him we'll be, keep him in prayer and everything. Mm-hmm. When he pulled off and went on down the street, immediately, baby girl decided, I'm crossing the street. Instead of going behind him, she crossed the street to the other side and walked on the other side of the street. And then Dad said, that means we're changing the energy. We're moving away from that energy.
She knew it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so unique. She just decided, I'm not walking that down behind him. I'm gonna.
And I mean, it's like she could see it. She smelled his bags and his wheels and tires and scooter and bike and seat. Or if he
was a very pleasant person.
I think
so it wasn't having anything to do with that. But she just immediately, when we turned around to go back down the street, and he was going that way, we were behind. We would have been behind him. She deliberately crossed the street.
I think she smelled the seat, and she didn't like that, so she switched over because she couldn't take it no more.
He started early tonight, didn't he?
Yes, he has. So
let me tell you something. You got to tell something, right?
No, go ahead. No, go.
I was in a beauty shop today, checking information about a barbershop across the hall. And the lady was talking to me, and I kept telling her about things that we were dealing with in church. And she said, here's what she did. She did what, and she said, he'll take care of it. Point up in the sky. Now, I asked the question with a statement. If we, and I told her, I said, well, yes, he's hearing you from within over here and in the universe. And he's, if you define the word omnipotence, omnipresence, and the I am self-present everywhere. Even David said, if I make my head or a motel in hell, he was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yet she said, up there, she said, he'll take care of it. I said, well, he's right there inside of you. But it was something there that would not let her. And I told her, I said,
go ahead.
When we leave these bodies, or if we stay in these bodies, that stays and leave is God essence. And I wanted to tell her the full impact of that, but Spirit said no, because her mind was enslaved to God and conditioned churchology, and even when we were not in church or in religion or in spirituality, we did not know how to say that God was in us, even if we read it or somebody preached it. I went to church with her first time. I had no idea that there was something to get or to receive. And yet I saw these people the first time I went with you to your grandmother's church. They was doing things, and I'm sitting there beside them and in that little short section. And it didn't faze me that the next time I got ready to go to church, I had an epiphany experience. I never had no idea that I was going to see Jesus. Then the week before we went back to church. Now, when I went to see you that morning, you didn't know anything had ever happened to me, had you?
No more. No, not until you told
till
me.
I got there.
Till you told me, yeah.
And you saw what was going on emotionally.
Emotionally, yeah.
And I heard your daddy say, he got him.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask the question, how did your daddy know what got me?
Well, Dad grew up in church.
Yeah.
He grew up, his entire family was what you call holy rollers. So he understood the emotional aspect of it and how that you respond or react whenever you have that initial encounter. So he understood that. So that's why he said that.
There was a lady sitting in the chair. She's a pretty nice sized person, body.
Where is this now? At the salon?
At the salon, across from the barbershop place.
Okay.
And I was talking to her about the mystical side of the eternalness. And her eyes watered. And I said, you are the love of yourself. Love yourself with all the essence of God. And I said, when you speak to yourself, tell God that you are the love of Him loving yourself. And it's Him loving you and you loving Him. And at the end, I asked her, I said, do you know anything about this? She said, yes. Never seen it. But she was sitting in chair and she knew everything that I was talking about. Now tell them about the little boy that you saw on YouTube asking his daddy and telling his daddy who was there at his birth.
Yeah, and I can't remember the little boys. I can't remember the actual video title, but I remember it's a gentleman who has a little boy. I think his name is Zen.
He's about 2, isn't he?
And he looks like he's about 2.
1.5,
maybe,
2.
Yeah, maybe 2.5, something like that. Anyway, he's at a talking age. He could talk and he had sentences pretty much. And
he's pretty smart, real smart.
He was telling his dad about when he was being birthed,
conceived and birthed in the inside.
He was telling his dad about how he went through the birthing process. He was telling his dad that he used to kick his mom. And he demonstrated how he did it. He stuck his hand up under his shirt and said, I kicked her like this. And his dad said, really, you did?
I see you.
And so then he said, yeah. And then I had to come. He said, I wanted to come out. He said, I wanted to come out. And then,
Jesus.
Then he said, it was a door. He said, but it was kind of a door. He said, not a door, kind of a door. He said, but I had to get out. And he said, then he looked at his dad. He said, his dad said, how did you get out? He said, the doctor. And then he looked at his dad and he said, you the doctor. And he didn't know that his daddy was a doctor. And his daddy
was
yeah, and that's something.
So
that is amazing.
He actually did go through that and was reporting it.
Wow.
Pastor, it is absolutely no way. It is no way that you can go to any child and talk to them about this at 1.5 or 2, and they'll talk back to you about it. You can't even talk to people who are grown, old as dirt. You can't.
So actually, this baby was born awake.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I want to say. The baby was enlightened in his mother's womb. Now, and there's probably really no answer to that, but having some conversations with some individuals, and we've talked about how even like with Dad and some of us, we have these experiences that some others don't have. And so the question was presented to me, why certain individuals have like the little book, why him? You see what I'm saying? Or why like Dad has all these different visitations in the realm of the spirit, heaven, and all these different things and so forth. And so that was presented to me, and really can't really give an answer.
And when you say presented to you, what is that?
I've been having conversations with people, and they're calm. Like what I did Sunday, I had I didn't do in our corporate worship service, I didn't do what we would say have a normal service.
Yeah.
When we used to have our own building on Wednesday nights when we had our Bible study, I would oftentimes have what we call a rap session, giving people opportunity to ask questions, because I don't want to assume that they know everything that I'm preaching or have understanding. Right. And so I decided Sunday to just open up the floor based off of the series that I've been teaching since New Year's Eve night. You know, what I want to know, what do y'all need to be enlightened about? What y'all need insight on? And so, and I just opened up the floor, and it went very well.
Yeah. So this little baby then, based on what you guys were talking about, this little baby he obviously has an understanding of what we would call a prenatal existence. He also is already very intuitive.
Yeah.
And can see
Yeah.
beyond his physical
Already.
abilities.
1.5.
So his knowing did not come from someone teaching him.
Exactly.
It came from a direct impartation or experience that he had. So therefore, he knows this now, not from a mental point of view. It has nothing to do with his mentation. It had nothing to do with his mind grasping this and remembering it, because he experienced that. And so no one will be able to change or tell him how this works, because he's already got it.
Exactly.
There are those of us, like you said, who have had imparted lessons. And I've said this many times before. There are imparted lessons, the things that where we landed, the two of us, in this spiritual journey. We're here because of the imparted lessons that we had. We didn't read a sacred text and get it. We were introduced to the sacred text later on.
After.
Yeah. And then the verbiage and all of that came with that. But we had the imparted lesson or teachings based on the experiences that we went through. And therefore, our knowing is intuitive, and it's not a mental assent. So sometimes we will not speak the same verbiage that someone who studied a text will say, or how they would say it, because that's not where we're coming from.
Exactly.
But it is coming from a true place where we have literally gone through this, and this is the only way we know how to express it.
Exactly.
I want to sit in somebody's house, church, anywhere, in a round table discussion about what we're talking about now. There's it's a word, obsession. I don't know whether you call it that or not. Part of me that wants to talk, to share this never ending conversation. When Jesus communicated a talk to me from the other side, inside, he is speaking the same words without opening his mouth. He does have one, but he does not have a mouth to talk with, to communicate with.
He doesn't have to.
That's the only way I can say it. And see, that's why I'm saying this, is because what is so frustrating about intuition is that it speaks, but it does not use words. And words come research and investigating, or listening to somebody say something, and you say, oh, that's what I was trying to say.
Right. And that's what I meant when I said that we had the imparted lessons or teachings based on the experiences that we had, and then the language came after. And so a lot of people, I'll say this, and I know you got more to say, but a lot of people, specifically in the Christian arena that we've come through, Pastor Norman, they are used to studying a text, and then hopefully some experience will come that will line up with the text. And they feel safe.
That's what I told her today.
That this is God showing me this.
Yeah.
So it's like they wait. They put the experience in the background, and the text and the study of that text in the forefront. And therefore they get caught up in the mental assent of the spiritual truth. And then when they encounter someone who hasn't gotten it from a book or from a teaching or teacher, a physical teacher, they don't really know how to relate, because they'll spout out and throw out spiritual language, but then it'll be truth, but it won't ring true. Does that make sense?
Oh well,
No.
yeah. Well, I just had that experience on Friday night. I had to minister to at Apostle Vandross Church Friday night.
Oh yeah, how did that
Um,
go? It went okay?
it based off of our description of having a good time, it was amazing.
Okay.
Um,
Oh God.
what and the reason why I brought that up because I had a text prepared. All right, I had everything. The direction I wanted to go. Got up there and literally, literally, the spirit of the Lord totally deterred. I couldn't even minister from it. I started picking up a lot of stuff in the atmosphere and what was going on in the church. Things what the Lord was showing me, plans that Apostle Vandross had that he didn't discuss with me. I mean, all kinds. So I just began to walk the floor and I just flowed.
Okay.
And these people were looking at me like, how in the world does he know this? I mean, they never sat down, never sat down. And so I never was able to get to the text like you said. And then it was just an experience right off the bat. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I even told Vandross and I said, look, when I get home, I'm gonna have to ask the Father why in the world he let me do all of this typing, get this good message out. And I said it was a shouting message too. And literally took me off the script and so forth. So I, I've been watching and evaluating different uh worship services or experience. I like the word experience where there is a shifting from that the normal or what
Mm-hmm.
we used to do. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe is Father revealing to us because see, we've been taught and conditioned to think that the Bible, that's it,
And that's not an offense.
Well, and then you have there are other sacred texts that people have allegiance to,
exactly.
and they have allegiance to those sacred texts, and they put that in the forefront as well as we put the Bible in the forefront.
As if there's no more
Yeah,
insight or revelation. And so
yeah,
that's where I've come to realize, and so many others have realized as well, that the book that's not it. That's not all. Because even like with it, I always think about what Paul says, the scriptures was given by the inspiration of God. Well, what was he making reference to? He was actually making reference to the writings of Moses and those before. But now his writings have become scriptures to us or a
mm-hmm.
sacred text. But all he was doing was writing letters to the
Yes,
different various churches that he had actually planted. That's
yes.
all he was doing. And
So
so I realize now, based off of our experiences, based off of the insight revelations that we're receiving, if we will record and write them and say later on in history, somebody find it, it will be considered a sacred text.
yes, yes, and so there is a difference. There's a difference in the reconditioning of the mind
Mm-hmm.
versus having a direct experience which causes the knowing.
Oh, I know what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Some of us, by the grace of God, have had the direct experience that causes us to know. And then we go back and find and validate what we've discovered through a sacred text or hearing another spiritual teacher who's saying those things, and it gives us clarity. Okay, this is what we experienced. But a lot of us have approached this whole spirituality, whether it be in church, Christianity, or any other spiritual sect. A lot of us have approached it by trying to recondition the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there's
That's the definition of be ye transformed by renewing the mind, but that's still mind being renewed.
but that's a misconception based on the fact of what it means to renew the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Renewing the mind is not cramming more information into it. Renewing the mind is taking it back to its original virgin state,
Exactly.
where it had not been filled with all the accumulation of what it had been exposed to. So this is where those of us who have had enlightenment experiences and have awakened, kind of like the little baby we were talking about. This baby is already awake. He's had a direct experience. So he doesn't have a sacred text to tell him. He doesn't have to have a sacred text to tell him any of the things that he's experienced. And so like when we say the love of God, I didn't learn the love of God by reading it somewhere.
Exactly.
So this is what we're seeing. It's almost like two groups, and we're trying to bridge that gap. And I hear what you're saying. You're trying to bridge that gap and pull them out of being so dependent on a sacred text.
And I believe some people actually have been in the place of being enlightened, but again, because of being in this world, this dimension, all of the conditions have causes them to have some type of amnesia where
Yeah.
they have forgotten their existence
Yes.
or lost their awareness, and now they're
Yes, that's the loss of
Yep.
salvation right there.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What you're describing is salvation lost or seemingly lost in sin is another definition for it. And it's really what lost in sin really means. I lost awareness of who I really am.
Truly am.
Yeah, truly. True blue Odie.
And it's funny because, and as we was talking about sacred text, I had an experience. I would have to say it had been around maybe 2 something this morning. I woke up. I had drifted off to sleep on the couch, actually watching something on TV. I don't remember what I was watching, and I couldn't get back to sleep. And so again, I listened to a lot of motivational stuff on YouTube, whatever. But I ran across. It was probably a little over an hour, but it was an audio and video, but I didn't watch the video. I just listened to it, trying to go back to sleep. And it was the Book of Enoch. And I read it before.
Interesting book.
Because I have it downloaded on my phone. I read it before, but it was just different to just listen to it. And some things that came to mind as I was listening, you could see the connection even in scripture with that book. And so it just had me to think why they would reject that book rather than embrace the insight and the revelation, which it makes all the sense in the world of how we receive the different intelligence to do different things, from quote unquote the angels that made a decision to leave from their first estate and begin to intermingle and marry with humans, or and took the daughters of men as wives unto themselves and so forth. But I was listening to that and I was like, this is amazing, and it makes all the sense in the world based on everything that we're experiencing right now, and it actually coincide with the Bible, literally.
Yeah, it does. Yes.
I heard Bernie Sanders today in the House describing from pure raw clarity about what is affecting in our government, what they are getting ready to do and already started doing. He described the suffering and the pain that families, jobs that have been, and some they sending letters to our government and telling them that they are fired. People, homes are at stake. Their medical and physicians and everything is going to be affected all over the globe or in the United States where people are receiving help who are homeless, even though there are those who are misusing this, even with food stamps. There are homeless people and they are protesting. But what was said to as I speak this, there are people who are trying to protest, and that's not going to do it, but they have to do what they have to. What's going to have to take place with these three, we say
Oligarchs.
oligarchs, is if there is no change in their compassion where they lied to us about helping the country, helping people, lowering the taxes and lowering food expenses and increasing certain things to help the country. Oligarchs are saying that, but they don't mean it, because there are people who are right now have lost their jobs because they send them letters and they are telling these people that they no longer have a job, meaning they no longer have an income. Where are they going to? They are just as bad off as the people in California, but the mudslides and the rain and the fires, they have to help each other because our government is not interested in helping these people that are being wiped out because they're passing laws and contracts that omit them completely out of this world. And there's suffering, the suffering that these people are in now. And it's very startling, it's very discouraging, and these people are in a bad situation. Who, look, don't tell me, don't point up in the air to God. Don't even point at me, God in me. Who is going to help these people? Because some of these people may end up being some of the people in our church or the people that we know in our families. They don't give a, Bernie Sanders say they do not give a Hoover dam. You know that thing to hold water back? It's called a dam. It's like this guy, they told him that at the Hoover Dam, you go Hoover Dam and you park in the damn parking lot and you get out of the damn car and you walk on the damn parking lot.
I think we got it.
To the parking to the damn gate to get a damn ticket to go down the damn stairs, and you're gonna meet a man at the entrance of the stairs, the damn stairs, named Dan, the damn tour guide. And he gonna take you down the damn steps, and while he's down in the damn, he gonna take you to a door, the damn door, to show you the damn generators that's supposed to be producing power where the damn water run through.
That is on a roll.
Got a damn chain.
Yeah. But I wanted to make reference to what you were saying, because
that's the damn shame.
On Sunday I had the rap session, and that's pretty much what the questions and stuff was being asked about. And so of course I had to help them navigate through script, show them what's actually happened, to let them know that a lot of what's going on has to happen. All right. Jesus said it must happen. All right. What Bernie Sanders would say, he's making reference to what Jesus said, that there will come a time when men's hearts will wax cold. They don't care.
Have you heard him talk about that?
I've been listening to all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, and it's already happening. You said in our churches or whatever, but like my wife's job, they have Mexicans that work there, some that's married to Mexicans, and he had to pray with some of the young ladies and stuff that came to work a few weeks back, where actually that was right after the election. They were crying. They were at her job crying, worried, and so forth. In Georgia, where she's from, she know a lot of people that work in the hotel industry down there. they actually came in and grabbed all of them out and took them out of it. So it's already happening, and a lot of
It's already
a
happening.
lot of people are being affected that we know of right now. So the thing is, they don't care. But see, it amazes me because for years, way back, even in the 80s, probably even before the 80s, we have always heard this thing about a new world order or one world government and all these different,
That's true.
and we've heard it over and over and over again, and that's what's going on. You hear now the people that they're utilizing and putting in these different seats and committees and stuff like that. You don't even hear the word millionaire. You hear the word billionaire. They're using strictly billionaires to reshape not just our nation, but to reshape the whole globe.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so that's why you have the situation with Elon Musk and the other individuals and stuff like that. They're trying to bring it to the place where there is the 1% that's ruling everything. And so now we have the situation with Social Security, where people have resigned. I think 8 or 9 people resigned today because Doge wants information concerning our Social Security numbers, all information that they're not supposed to have access to.
Exactly.
Look what Virginia Carter said
That's
down at the bottom.
Virginia, and thank you for sharing, Virginia. She said we have tent cities here in Canada with minus 41-degree temps. Never saw this here before.
See?
Yeah, it's almost to the point where I don't know what to say about what's happening, except that I know that there's a lot of hardship that is facing a lot of people, and words are cheap.
Exactly.
Words are cheap. But I also know that our energy, what we emit is very, very important. What we emit in the midst of this crisis can't just be us talking about what happened.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't help anything. But we can emit that the government is not our source.
No.
Exactly. And see, that was the question that was asked with all, the first question that was asked Sunday, in the midst of all that's going on, and we have been given the direction to pray. How do we pray? What do we pray? What are we supposed? And that's why I had to show them concerning the Spirit of God. When we don't know what to pray for, the Holy Spirit helpeth our infirmity where groans and moans that cannot be uttered, because He knows the mind and the spirit, and He intercedes on behalf of the saints according to the will of God. So this is where you have to rest on the Spirit of God, because in all actuality, we do not know what to pray for. We, like you said, we don't even know. Words are cheap. We don't even know what to say. And so I had to be straight with them and say, we have to be honest. This is where we really have to rely on our union and oneness with our Father, to lean on the Spirit more than on our carnal self, our carnal ideas. We really have to trust God.
Yes, we do.
Trust the Lord and lean not to your own understanding.
Exactly. And it's really coming back to a lot of us. Now, I won't say a lot of us, but some of us who have had within Christianity, who've been deconstructed from religious mindsets in the Christian religion. I'll say it like that. We kind of let go of this idea of warring until you see a manifestation. We've kind of allowed that to settle in on us. We know that because we're being taken care of, and it's so true that we are being taken care of. But I feel the pull into what Romans 8 says, where it talks about, likewise, the Spirit also helps our infirmities, our weaknesses, our inability to get anything done. For we know not what we should pray for as we ought. but the Spirit itself makes intercession, makes intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. So I feel the pull to go back into the groanings.
You feel the groanings.
I feel the Spirit of God,
the grief,
initiating that again. Because you know, when a person is burdened and they're heavily burdened, the first thing they'll do is go, That's a natural response to groan. So when we're faced with these kinds of challenges, this is what we can do.
Can you agree that we got away from that?
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
because we've been deconstructed to a point that we didn't feel a need to have to go that route, because we really had it good. We've really had it good. And we've also been able to see how to just sit back and surrender and allow. We got into the let there be's, where we just we would allow things to unfold on our behalf. And most of the time it's positive. And most of the time we came through it and it was fine. But now we're faced with some challenges that are staring us in the face, and they're not moving. They're not going away. And the only thing we can do is groan and allow the Spirit of God to make intercession for us and through us for one another.
And see, because I oftentimes like to go back and reflect when we had those that we came up under who were not as educated as we are. Some of them couldn't read, some of them couldn't even translate different things, but they had this knowing that led them and governed them to the point that we would see back then a greater manifestation of the supernatural, the greater manifestation of God himself. And it seemed as we went on or evolved, we allowed our intellect to take over. And rely on that more, trying to understand and be super deep about everything, when they weren't being deep. They were being as simple as can be, and you will see a greater manifestation of the presence and the power of God.
And I remember, you're right, and I remember when my nephew, my sister's son, he was about 10, maybe 10 or 11. He developed some kind of blood disorder. It was almost like cancer. In fact, he had to have chemo and all of that. And I remember the day that we got the diagnosis, and he had these little lesions popping out all over his body, little blood lesions popping out all over his body. And they were we took him to Chapel Hill, and we were just scared. I mean, scared. And most people that's walking in faith don't want to say scared to death, but we were scared to death. And I remember I was at that point where some people are now in the situations that they're in. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know what to pray. I remember I went in one of my bedrooms and I just got on the bed, and all I could do was groan. And I allowed myself to dissipate the burden, because the Spirit of God and answers ride on the burden, don't it?
Yeah. And y'all was not at the service on Friday night, and I talked about that, the burden. Out of Nehemiah, he had a burden that brought him to a place of praying, groaning, and fasting.
All right, here's the mystical translation of burden: travailing, inarticulate speech, talking in your sleep. The groaning is a form of conception, or we might say being pregnant with the answer, but it has the seed in us is breaking open like an acorn that fell off of the oak tree. Some of those acorns are moved around by the wind and the leaves, and some of them never germinate or crack open under pressure. Groanings is pressure.
Yes.
Now the pressure If you take a Coca-Cola and a big ball and shake it up, it'll blow that top clean off of there. And what happens?
You got to stop being a fly on the wall around me. You got to stop that. I'm like, word for word, Friday, word for word.
Lord have mercy.
And I use that demonstration all the time with the Coca-Cola bottle.
Now here we go. When did the groaning start? I can take you all the way back to the dimensions, the God dimensional identity. Let's look at it like this. I didn't realize from what we call a day one in my mother's womb, and it bears repeating this, and the PTSD was in the womb for 3 extra days that I was supposed to have been born, but the Dr. Coleman had to come, his name, had to come to my house and turn me. I was in the womb trying to go back where I came from. The groanings and the pain that my mama went through was severe. And the groaning and the travailing was all over me from day one in the shotgun house. I didn't know that those groanings are like barnacles on the side of a hull of a ship. I didn't know that the groaning was like those parasites or barnacles that's on the side of a whale and a turtle. They can become so heavy on a turtle that they cannot swim nor come up for air. And a whale the same way. A baby whale, or whatever you want to call it, will swim around in certain ships and boats until they get the attention of the occupants on the boat. They get help to the mother who is down in the bottom of the ocean that needs help from human beings on the boat to go down and bring them to dry land and pull those barnacles off of the whale. Now, we have, like the whales, we have been everything. I want every one of you to listen to this. Please hear this. Whatever you went through may not have been as drastic as the other that listening to that have not identified themselves on this class. You have travailing inside of you because not everything went good for you in school and in your home. Give or take a little in degrees. But those places where cuts and scars were cut into your soul when mama slapped you or made you go to bed or do something, or you got into something that caused you to be disciplined, groaning and travailing is what was brought us to this point. Yeah. And the nations of the new United States is in travailing and groaning. Now, these groaning and travails do not have to go up anywhere, even though they do, before the house, the council of God. And they told me on the other side, before anything is approved over here, it has to come through the triune divine board, hall of records, and the Akashic records, and all of the board over there. He told me that they are constantly in session about the universe and the brokenness and the pain and the suffering. Mm-hmm. There are many light beings that have come to the earth, and they are earth angels, like that little baby that we talked about tonight. I know what travailing is because I sat up in the bed with a shotgun in my hand to kill my uncle for creating the travailings and the burdens that was in my house at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Cold. I had enough. Excuse my Negro self. I had enough of it. Okay. Now here we go.
I need to address something so that I want to make sure. John Greason, thank you for being transparent. But listen, he said he voted Republican. He's trying to be transparent. He's not sure the outcome, but he said we need checks and balances. Yes, we do. And this is not even about politics, John. So there's no judgment for that, baby. Don't judge yourself. Please don't judge yourself or think that you were wrong for having your own opinion and having the chance to do that. if you did that, that's fine. We're looking at now, where do we go from here?
Exactly.
Where do we go from here? And so what we can do is what you're saying, and what Pastor Norman is saying, is that we can use the burden to be able to allow the Holy Spirit to press the answers out.
Exactly.
And that's what we can do.
Exactly.
I'm at a point where I never thought.
Elaborate on him put that, because I had that same situation happen Sunday,
Okay.
where in the midst of all the questions, one particular person voted that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they misunderstood the whole thing that was going on, thinking that we was focusing and I want people to understand this.
Yeah.
Get your eyes off of Trump.
Please.
He
Please.
is a pawn in a bigger picture, and they're not seeing that. And that's what I'm trying to get.
I like that word you said. You're a pawn in a bigger picture. I like the way you said that.
Yes.
He is not the force. It looks that way, but he's not the force. It's something behind all of that, and that's what the trick of that force is. It is to deceive us, to cause us to kind of deal with things from a carnal mindset versus trying to switch over into our spiritual mind, which is the mind of Christ. And Dad said this Sunday about the highest office is the ministry or the office operating as Christ or Christ as us.
Yes.
And so the gentleman felt so bad about what he was saying, because I was explaining to him, because he think I was so focused on Trump. No, I'm focusing on the spirit of the matter.
That's it.
And so he called me on yesterday to apologize, because he didn't, you're my pastor and I don't never want to. I'm like, no. I said, everything is fine. Everything. All I'm trying to get you to understand is y'all got to get off of this thing of Democrat or Republican, because now it's like, in order for me to be a true Christian, I need to be a Democrat. Or in order for me to be a true Christian, I need to be a Republican. No. And like I presented to them, there are people that love God on both sides of the party. So stop being so party oriented and be oriented in your divine self. Focus there. And that's where you'll find your answers.
Yes. Let me say this to you guys. And I'm not pulling any punches with you. And I'm not saying this as a redundancy over. This is the first time I've ever come to a place where it seemed like it stretched out longer than what it had been. I don't know what she would say about this later, but anyway, I never thought I'd not have enough money to put gas in my car personally, or in my Jeep personally. I never thought I'd come to a place where I cannot go to the grocery store and buy anything. My bill folder has got a few little pieces of paper in it. I went to the drugstore today to get some of the medication. We had to make a turn and a twist to get that. And one part of the medication was so much I couldn't get it. I never thought that I would come to a place where the ministry that I was in for 35 years shut down in the brick and mortar. That don't mean it shut down God, but it shut down that physical aspect. Mm-hmm. When I look back over it, the suffering and travailing that she and I went through with the burdens and the grief of the people, I don't know whether at this age that I am now, can I take it? The mind is constantly in battle with us in sleep as to how are we going to stretch out the leftover food in our refrigerator today to this point to where we can have something to eat. And by me being on this diet and surgery that I had, and then the bariatric, I'm constantly eating small amounts of food. I don't eat full amounts, and my desire for food has left. And I go to bed and I wake up in the middle of the night, every night around 3 or 4 o'clock. And where I used to go to the closet, I bypass it and I come back to it later. I never thought that I would have these feelings inside of me between she and I, to where I've didn't know how the next piece of bread was going to come and who was going to send money in the mail to help us. I want to give certain people my address, but because of the pressure in politics and things that are going on with the crazy stuff with people's minds and heads, I don't know what to say to them. I don't want to give out too much information because you never know what they're going to do with it. I don't, I never thought that I would actually come to a place where the definition of letting go and letting God is actually becoming a reality in our life. The only thing I have going for me and her right now is us, each other. That's all we got. Now, I know God is, God will, and God does, and I am, and we are, and we all this stuff. But when the rubber hits the road, somewhere down the line, my back end is dragging.
Lord, I don't want to have that visual.
I would look. You don't have to have a visual. I would say, what back in?
Get out of here! See that? That ain't right.
I just thought about the car just now.
You need to talk to her.
He's been taking no arsetol.
Yeah. She called it no acetone.
You got on okay. Your violin was running. Violin was playing now. You got to come back.
Go to your room. Go to your room. Go to your room. She don't like talk like that, but I can't help but talk about it because to me, she said, well, I don't want to be going around acting like we poor.
All right. And I don't want to feel poor.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't feel poor, even if I talk poor.
Oh, good. I'm glad of that.
But I'm going to tell you about the poor. My legs done got so little. Well, my legs, be quiet.
Where are you going with it?
Be quiet. I'm telling you about this thing that we're going through that we never thought we would have to go through. That's going on with the country all over the globe.
It is, yeah.
And we're not the only ones going through it. It's some people in some bad shapes now that's up in the mountains that's freezing. Like what she said, who said that?
Like Virginia mentioned.
Virginia said it is painful when you see people out on the street, and I go to Greensboro and I see people walking the street, they ain't got no home, they got nowhere to go, they got nowhere to, and that was like that before this stuff came about.
And now it's amplified, is what you're saying. Yes.
Which simply means this. And I never thought, and like I said, we always at our church, and like so many others, we have this culture with the New Year's thing that we have a word or a theme that we believe. And so going back to 2020, I never forget, I said to our congregation, to Bowl, that 2020 will be the year of change. Yes. All right. I mentioned that, not knowing that the pandemic was about to hit. I had no clue because everybody was using 2020 as vision, right? As vision, right? Every time it was going to be the year of vision. I said, nope, it's going to be the year of change. 2020 will start a decade of change. And it happened. Yeah. The reason why I'm saying that is because from that experience, we have been, and I can't use the word force, because sometimes there are things that happens to force us to tap into another creative side of ourselves. So many of us had to make adjustments and to adapt to what happened in 2020 with COVID, that we tapped into. Even like with finances, I was not making as much money as I was prior.
Right.
But my life became much more comfortable.
Yes.
I became less stressful. Yes. And I shared my testimony over and over again. It may have been a tragic and catastrophic event, but for me, I truly experienced freedom.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the best seasons in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now we're at this point, and I'm watching the same things that's going on, And it's funny because I just had these conversations with my son yesterday and today. I've been telling people since last year of some things that was about to come. That's why I said if we want to have an understanding concerning the prophetic is not something that we receive to make us feel good. No, that's the forecast that's telling us you got to get ready to make some necessary adjustments in your life if you're going to survive and thrive through all that's going on. And I did that.
Yeah, and I think for me now, the message I keep hearing, not so much hearing, but the message that is presenting itself to me in all of this happening is the message of go back to minimal and basics.
Exactly.
And so yes, we've been able to splurge, and now we need to go back to basics.
Exactly.
And not so much feel like we're being deprived, but it's to really get us to a point. I saw today a documentary called The Minimalism, and it's about this guy who was really into I can't remember what kind of job he had, but he was very successful, but he was unhappy. And he said something happened. I don't know what happened because I didn't look at the whole thing. Something happened where he went all the way back down to one small apartment with just the bare essentials in that apartment. And his friend saw him and he said, "How are you doing?" He said, "Why are you so doggone happy?" And he said, "I'm happy because I don't have any baggage."
Exactly.
And all the baggage is gone. And I'm happy. And I'm also free. So while I know this is not an easy thing, I'm not making light of it. I know that this is also forcing a lot of us who've been really living in excess, is forcing us to go back to basics.
Here's the song that says this: if you want to dance and you can't dance because you're back against the wall, get down with it.
Get down on it.
Get down on it.
Get down with it. But I'm glad Mom mentioned that because I've actually been watching the same thing about these minimal homes, these tiny houses, all these different things. And so
really,
a lot of people are heading in that direction. But again, that's where, like going back to the sons of Issachar, we always talk about them. That they had the ability to discern the times and to tell the people what they ought to do. But that's what's been happening.
Yes.
But we've been trying to be so deep and super spiritual with it.
Yeah.
It was something so very practical that we needed to shift. And so I learned during the pandemic that a lot of things that I was doing and where I was spending my money, it was unnecessary.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Now, in excess.
I'm still in that same mode where I'm like, I don't need to go get. I'm good. You see what I'm saying? I'm good right now. I don't need to buy no more suits. I don't need to buy. Hey, I'm good. I'll buy as I need.
Look what Virginia says. She said, and I don't mean to cut you off, Pastor Norma, but look what Virginia says that happened to her in 2020. Oh, wow. She lost her sight. That's a big adjustment.
I lost my hearing.
He lost his hearing. And so there are always going to be those kinds of challenges, I think. But like we said, and it's, when you come right back to the core of what this is saying tonight, is to come back to the place of simplicity, not having excess, not living in excess. I just recently cleaned out my whole closet in the book.
Yeah.
I mean,
doing the same.
There's hardly anything in that closet anymore. There's things that I knew I would never wear again. And one of the reasons I knew I wouldn't wear it again is not because I gained weight and all this stuff, or that they're too old. That's not me anymore.
You know, I thought about.
And so I know that a lot of those things I would never wear because I don't even have any interest in wearing them anymore.
Exactly.
I thought about getting somebody to help me clean out some of my old clothes, but I'm afraid they might see some old bloomers in there that I can't do them with.
Look, he's like this. He said he'll say he's gonna get rid of stuff, but he don't want to be the one to do it.
I don't want to see it.
He said if he sees it,
I want to keep something.
Keep it.
I might have some old bloomers in there that were given to me by my mama before she died, and they done blowed out, and so I don't want nobody to see them.
Well, since you talked about Dan the damn tour guide, my mom gave him some britches one time. And they said they had written on them, "Yank my doodle, it's a dandy."
Oh, good. You just close nasty.
Nasty as you.
That is
She nasty. Oh, she nasty. Oh,
I wanted to share this.
You seen she nasty.
They're gonna say we don't say
Dad, please. Mom not nasty. Mama is mine. You nasty. You nasty. But going back to what you know about making adjustments. I want people to understand that we are created in a way to make adjustments. We know humanly, we know how to adapt. Yes, and that's what we got to trust. We have to trust that intuitiveness that we know how to adjust. And so at a funny situation that happened, I started, it happened on February the 5th. I remember the day. I just came from the gym. I got back into the gym because, like I said, I was so busy with ministry and stuff that I got away from it. I said, I got to get back into the gym. So I got back into the gym. And so I came home and followed my routine, you know, the protein with the boiled eggs and stuff. And so we was on the fast for 21 days, right? No dairy, no nothing. And so I went in the refrigerator, got the last 2 eggs that we had in the carton. And so my wife went to the store or something other. And when she came back, she saw that I had the 2 eggs boiling. She said, "Oh no, I knew I should have grabbed me some eggs when I was at the store." Like that, right? I said, "Oh, baby, I didn't." She said, "I was getting baby." So I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, look, I'll just run to Piggly Wiggly and get you some eggs." When I got there, the 18, because we always get the 18 count. The 18 count of eggs at Piggly Wiggly, and these were not even large eggs, these was medium eggs, was $11.19.
How much you say?
$11.19. I almost fell out in the floor.
Oh.
I'm like, what just happened? So, of course, I'm having a conversation with him. So when I got in my car, the first person I thought about was my mom because she does all of this baking.
Yeah.
So I called her. I said, "Mom, you won't believe this," like that. And so we was talking. So when I got home, I told my wife, and so immediately I shifted and I said, "Look, people may not know this, but I said, baby, we all may get the kids to come back. All of us to come back. We build that one out, and all of us live in a house together. Because with all this stuff that's going on, we're going to have a hard time trying to do it independent of someone else."
Yeah, one of my neighbors, Jan, the one who helped with the yard so much that I had talked about last summer. Jan said she and her son got together and they were talking about it. And she said, we decided we were going to buy some land and all of us going to put us a tiny house on the land. So we're going to have our little tiny house community.
Oh, God. No,
see, that's why I've been looking at all of the stuff on YouTube about the tiny houses and the containers, how they make houses out of containers and all this stuff like that. Because again, we don't know what's coming. We have no idea. We can try to be deep and say whatever we want to say, but we literally all have to shift.
Yes, and we're doing that. I think we're making that shift now.
Yeah.
I looked at this stuff that's going on, and I sat there and I got all bundled up and tense and tight in my lower back part. I thought when I got up, I was gonna pull the cover off the chair.
So yeah, it's not good to sit and look at it all the time.
My bottom part done pinched the chair and pinched the cover, and I thought I was gonna pull it off. When I got up, I had to turn around and look and see what was dragging behind me. I'm telling you, it's too much to tell the captain.
Yep.
It is, but we're gonna
I would say this to people and so that they can lift a lot of the oppression off of them
Mm-hmm.
because it's repetitive. Don't sit there and watch that stuff all day long
Lord no.
and stuff because it's only repeating itself. I may watch it
Mm-hmm.
maybe an hour in the morning and that's it, and then the rest of the day I'm watching stuff that is comical, funny, stuff like that because it can weigh on you.
Well, just like we were talking in the very beginning of the session tonight, the baby girl had sense to move out of that stream of energy.
Yes, she did.
And we followed her. And so don't follow that stream of energy that causes you to be, as she said, uptight. Okay?
That's what I said.
Yeah, you said you were uptight.
But I said a different way, didn't I?
You said it a different way.
You're really uptight if you did.
That was the tight of Dick Tracy's hat band. I'll tell you the truth.
All right, guys, we've been here an hour and 10 minutes. Thank you for sticking in here with us. And thank you so much for listening to our conversation. Pastor Norman, we always enjoy talking with you, of course.
I'm being with y'all.
Just so glad that everything's still working out for our good. We know that. And so we're just going to do our groanings and let that burden be released and allow the Holy Spirit to give us solutions. And like Pastor Norman said, give us another avenue of creativity where we can find different means. And so it's going to be okay. And we'll help one another. We'll make adjustments. As Virginia said, she made her adjustments. We're going to make those adjustments and we're going to be fine.
There's a old boy in our church, Brother Cornell, said he came out to his car one morning. He looked at his car and said he saw the devil sitting on the fender. He said he started the binding and loosening. I command you to get off my car. He said the devil,
it wouldn't crank.
It wouldn't crank. So the devil turned around and looked at him and said, why are you binding and loosening me? I ain't done under your car. Oh, what you need is a new car.
Oh my God. I want to acknowledge a couple of people that I haven't seen in a while. And that was,
are they on there tonight?
Well, several. Jonathan came and see us tonight. I don't know if he's still
J.
here,
Hickbar.
but it's good to see you here, Jonathan. Delcine and McElroy.
Delcine and May Hickbar.
And there's Hattie. She just popped in. Hattie,
look at
thank
that.
you for tuning in tonight, sweetheart.
Yes.
Glad to see you too. And look, we're going to take off here. We'll be back on Sunday. If nothing happens now, nothing happens, we'll be back on Sunday, live and in color at 10
If the creek don't rise, we'll be here.
If the creek rises, we'll just put some culottes on.
I ain't putting no culottes on. I'm going to go high up on the porch.
Put on some shorts.
See, at wintertime, you don't do stuff like that. I see people walking in the neighborhood with them little short swimming trunks on in the cold.
We got a young man that in our neighborhood. He wears a jacket. I don't care how cold it is. He'll wear a jacket with flip-flops.
Yeah.
Oh, I see that all the time here. All the time.
What's wrong with them folks?
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be back on Sunday. Pastor Norman has his session on Facebook at 9 o'clock. You can catch him under Norman Armstrong Ministries. And I apologize if you guys came in and then it went out. We don't know what's happening, but we'll try to keep on pay attention to what's going on a little bit closer. I think I went live earlier and then it didn't. The stream ended and then I had to go live a second time. So anyway, I'll try to do better. And as long as I got somebody to help me, we'll do better. We'll do better.
Hey, I'm gonna say it straight. We need your financial help. Send something. Thank you.
Enough said. Enough said.
Amen.
Thank you guys. We'll see you next time. We're gonna go now.
Just like that. You're gonna go there.